I'm John, and this is the Scion vlog for this week. Getting up a little late. If you're on the West Coast, we will probably be still Saturday when this gets up. I'm here alone tonight, and it's not feeling super well, and so, but I wanted to make sure we got this out this week. We haven't had a ton of questions that really felt good for the vlog, so if anybody has some, go ahead and send them in. We had a lot of like mathy and specific questions that kind of needed a writing hand to get them done. So instead of a question day, I'm going to do a little personal talk time. I know none of you really care what I have to say personally, but I wanted to do a typed out post about this, but I was probably going to get to that like way later than I wanted to, because kind of typing stuff out takes me a long time. And so I figured this is a good opportunity to go ahead and kind of knock it out and talk about stuff. So what I want to talk about is the cool ST class I just ran. It was kind of every time I had to tell somebody about it, I always felt kind of embarrassed. I was like, oh yeah, I'm running a class teaching people, like helping them how to storytell and helping them with their games. And but inside I felt really cool. It was definitely something I always wanted to do, right? Like when you're a kid playing Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're in college, like, you know, STing a lot of games, you're like, man, you know, if only I could do this for a living, the fact that I'm failing all my classes going to LARP wouldn't matter. And so it was really cool to try to fashion that into something that was, you know, kind of profitable. To have that and just be able to say, yeah, you know, I made a little bit of money on this kind of as a living, maybe. So definitely had some good and some bad in the class. A lot of things I did right, things I felt I did wrong, things I definitely know I could have improved on. And I just wanted to kind of talk about all of those a little bit for me and a little bit for people who might be interested. This might be something that maybe you would like to do in the future, or it might be something that you might like to participate in the future. So, firstly, it took some work, kind of getting up and getting out there. Anne was very much against the project, and I think she had some good gripes about it. Anne was also against putting up a donation button on the website. I had to really kind of push her to get that done. Not because she didn't want to do it as much as she doesn't really like accepting money for anything creatively we do with the website, because we do it because we enjoy it, and we do it because it brings us happiness. But at the same time, you know, we do spend a ton of time on it, and as people who are kind of struggling with bills and rent and kind of or massive stupid American student loans, spending that much time on something and not getting anything financially from it can be difficult and can be straining. So Anne definitely didn't want me to do this, or if I did this, she wanted me to do it for free. And I wanted to, I guess I kind of had I didn't have to prove to her, but I hope prove to her that I was going to put enough time into it that it would really be something that was not only worth people's money, but something definitely special that people would greatly enjoy. I think Anne's biggest worry was that people would look down upon us for it. That people, the same thing with like a donation button or asking for money at any point. Anne worries that people will look at it and be like, oh my, who the fuck do they think they are that they can ask us for money? Or who the fuck does he think he is that he can run a class? And I just did a voice there, but it wasn't because Anne's wrong. I think those are definite concerns, and I think there are probably some people that thought that out there. And I think it's valid. I might think it too. At the same time, I would think, oh, it's really cool, you know, he's doing that. But at the same time, you know, it is, when you ask people to do a service for them for money, you have to make sure that it is very high quality. And I hoped, that's what I went into the classes aiming for. making the syllabus and stuff was hard. It's hard breaking up 8 classes for, having ideas for stuff that STs might want to look at. And because STing is so personal and everyone has so vast amounts of experience finding things that kind of can hit and make a lot of people like it and enjoy it was definitely a difficult thing, and I'm not sure that I succeeded. Asking about it, I got I think several people that would be interested. Then as once I got everything put out there, people seemed really excited, but then the number of people that actually came forward to participate was I think fairly low. I think about half of what I expected. Which was okay. I mean, it was disappointing a little bit, but, it doesn't bother me too much. I was still very excited about just doing it, and so if I had anybody there to work with, I was very excited about that. Ended up having schedule conflicts with one person, and then the other person who was going to join the class got hit by a snowstorm. It hit the east coast of America, for people who haven't dealt with it, and parts of that area are still kind of devastated by it 2-3 months later. So definitely no internet, and wasn't able to really join us on anything, and so I ended up not coming through. So I ended up having class with 2 dudes, really cool guys, both Canadian cousins that both were running a game. We're each running a game, and we're having a good time with it. First class got in. Tried to introduce, we talked, introduced each other. At that point, Sandy hadn't hit yet, so we had another person hanging out with us and learning stuff. I tried to come up with homework assignments for each class that kind of built on each other, and I think those worked well, but I don't think they built to where I wanted them to. I wanted to kind of have, they started making characters, and then making kind of personal antagonists for those characters, and then prophecies for those characters, and kind of building through each class that dealt with each of those particulars. And I wanted it to kind of ramp towards an end goal, but I didn't quite have that end goal grasped. And as class happened, it was a great time investment that I'll get to later, just doing the classes each week. I ended up not being able to figure out where I wanted to really go with that. So I think about halfway through, the homework stuff and the stuff I had done kind of stalled out with the momentum I wanted it to have. I still think that they got a lot out of it. I think it, for each class that I used the kind of homework for, and it was optional because I try to do all of it more like when I had acting classes, and most of my theater and acting, any of my arts classes, it was all about wanting to be there. So you didn't get graded necessarily on your homework as much as if you didn't do it, you just lost that time and effort and opportunity to get better. If you came to class without your scene ready, the teacher was disappointed, but you didn't lose points really. All you did was you didn't have anything to do that day, and that sucks. So I tried to have the class more like that, but it never, as I had hoped, it never came down to that. Students were always prepared. They always had everything ready, which was a lot of fun and really everything I was looking for in that. But my own critique for myself, I think, first of all, I think 8 weeks was a little long, and I could probably shorten that, but that if I could really have the homework, since they were building on each other, really build something big later. And I still don't know what that would be, but I was hoping to kind of get something out of that. So, the other thing is I set up class a lot like American University. I keep saying American because the 2 students happen to be from Canada. I don't know how much of our viewership is from not America or didn't go to university here, college. But so the idea was that I would have a class for 1 hour a week, and that would be the entire class would get together. I would teach on stuff, ask questions about stuff, and then at the end of the hour it would kind of be over and we'd leave. In addition to that, I wanted to work about half an hour, or more importantly, 4 hours over the entirety of the 8-week class, working on one person's particular stuff, so that each student, and this was again envisioning 7 to 8 students, getting the information about their game, dealing with questions about their particular game, or maybe some character stuff, or maybe even just coming up with a story for them. And then for 2 different 2-hour blocks, I was going to have what I guess in my college, I think most colleges call office hours. For office hours, usually the professor is chilling in their office, and students can come in if they have questions about the homework or something else they were doing. They can come in and kind of chat about it. And definitely nothing that the students I had did wrong at all, because I at no point explained that better, and I really had a good time talking with them, and so I definitely enjoyed talking to them. But what ended up happening was that twice a week, every set of office hours was a full-on 2 hours of almost additional class time, like kind of talking directly with both or one of them about tons of questions about Scion, or directly kind of helping them with their game, planning plot stuff, working on antagonist stuff. That I have a really good time with. It definitely, I didn't begrudge them that at all at any point, but it wasn't really what I had planned time-wise. So it ended up going from, I would say each week I probably planned for my part of class, the 1 hour portion. I planned for that for about 3 to 4 hours a week. Then I would kind of, look at their homework and give comments and stuff. I would say probably like half hour a week for each of them. But then there was an additional 4 hours, sometimes more like 5, where we would just be hanging out and talking and discussing stuff. What I felt like it turned more into was those office hours became more like a master's program, where after class, maybe the couple people from class and the professor had to a coffee shop and just hang out for maybe 2 hours, talking about all kinds of stuff. Because definitely we didn't talk about game stuff all the time during those 2 hours. A lot of the time, because we ran out of stuff to talk with. Let's say it's 4 hours over 8 weeks, so it was 32 hours of the time that just wasn't class. So we definitely ran out of Scion stuff to talk about. So we talked about a little bit about their personal lives, a little bit about the players in their game, which I guess is kind of Scion-y, and then like Canadian laws and who their senator is, and why things in America are so fucked up. And I had a good time with that, totally. And that's what I felt was more like a master's class where we were hanging out, and the professor, gets as much enjoyment out of the kids, but it's not really the school part. And so I think overall, time investment wise, it was more than I was prepared to handle. Wasn't upset or unhappy at any point during any of that. I always enjoyed the time. But from my personal extra time, it was more than I had planned and kind of bargained for, especially financially. And again, to those class people, it's not your fault, and you should feel nothing bad for any of that. It's totally on me, and I had a great time the whole time. I just think going forward, I should plan that better, and I should say things, in the syllabus, like during office hours, maybe each student should have an idea of like a limit of maybe 10 to 20 minutes during the office hours time where they would like slip in and talk to me, or maybe during office hours, stick to mostly email and text chat, and then sometimes do video. Excuse me. Although video is generally faster, better. So maybe it should stick to that as well. I don't know. These are all things I'm kind of exploring and kind of thinking about post. But what I want to hammer home is it was never the student's fault, and they should not feel bad at all at any point in time. It was all on me. So moving on from that, the only other thing that happened that was interesting was because we had so much time early on just talking about tons of stuff and lots of questions they had, sometimes I didn't see it getting away from me, that they were asking a lot of questions that I had planned to deal with in later classes. So that by the time we got to those classes, maybe the subject matter wasn't as interesting, or I had really talked about as much as I wanted to about that kind of stuff. So we ended up, near the end, switching up some classes and kind of seeing the kind of stuff they wanted to talk about more, and I kind of tried to quickly formulate as much as I could about that. The other thing that I didn't like as much was I had planned to do more physical stuff, like preparing for some things and having like games and stuff set out in preparation. And then two things kind of happened. Because the office hours ended up being so long, I had planned to do the prep during those a little bit. Like maybe if it was like to set up a battle scene with their homework characters doing different stuff. Like I had planned to do that kind of during the 4 hours slotted for class stuff, and then when I didn't have that time, I ended up not getting to that, and I felt really bad about that. Those were things I had planned to do and really wanted to do, but they were big time chunks that I ended up just not having between all the other stuff I'm doing. So that was a little disappointing for me, and I definitely found that over video those things don't work as well. It's hard to give, like if I could have my desk out with a thing on it and students could just come up and look at it, it's a lot easier and they can get a lot more and they can see what they want to see and kind of study it. Whereas the camera and me kind of choosing what they're seeing didn't work as well. And I think it was still fine, but in my mind it wasn't the same as, a normal in-person class, which is, I guess, what I was trying to go for, like as much as possible. So, yeah, I think that's everything talking about the class. Just in general, I had a blast. It was a wonderful experience. I think I learned a ton. Met two really cool guys. Made a little money that helped during Christmas. And just, really had a lot of fun. I love teaching, and I love Scion and what we role-playing games, what we do, and kind of teaching people to be better at that. It's just a giant ball of all the things I'm really passionate about, and getting to do that was just really, really awesome. And so I thank them, and thank Anne for finally letting me do it, I'm a man. So yeah, that's about it about the class. I think made a lot of mistakes, and I think I got a lot of stuff right. And leads us to if there's a next time. I don't think there's enough base of people to do something exactly similar again. And if I'm wrong, tell me, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure, I can look at our viewership and our logship on the blog and see that, of the people that are there, the ones who are kind of serious enough to want to do it, / also have money and time to do it, and are super interested in that much time with me and what I have to say. Like, I think it's a niche, and I think I've kind of tapped that for this particular thing. And I think the big 8-week class, I think, might be just too long. I think it might be, it's kind of a big endeavor that maybe this isn't the right thing for that. So I've been thinking of other stuff, and I'm totally open to suggestions. Maybe individual classes. Maybe doing like a special topics, getting a bunch of people together and talking about one thing. maybe just people and obviously these would be for much smaller prices. And God, I hate talking about money as much as Ann does. It's really crass, and I hate it. I hate it. But I'm just going to throw numbers out there, and they pretty much mean nothing. But like, so if it was for a one-time get-together for 2 hours with a bunch of people for like $10 to discuss a specific special topics that maybe a lot of people have questions about. Or if a particularly explosive game was coming up and a lot of people wanted to see it, maybe charge tickets for that? I don't know. That just came up in my head, and maybe that was horrible. I don't know. But oddly, that seemed like something people would want. Like, oh, I totally forgot that. Like, during the class, they were really excited about watching one of our games. And so they sat there on the Sunday game for like 7 hours watching everything that happened. And I thought that might be boring, but then thinking back on it, like, maybe that is kind of cool. I would be interested in seeing someone else's game for a while, especially if I knew the characters and knew their backstories and stuff, like so many of the characters on our site. The other thing is I could do, like, maybe like charge hourly for kind of like personal tutoring or a personal problem once in a while. The reason that the class came up to begin with, and the whole idea that I came up with it, was because we reached a point, and it's died down a lot since then, but we reached a point in the summer where the amount of questions we were getting were huge, and couldn't blog about it anymore. I think we were doing 3 posts a day for like 2 or 3 months. And then I was just getting a lot of like random emails from people like, hey, I have this problem. Hey, I have this problem. And they wanted a lot of time invested. And I wanted to be able to give that to people, but I needed to be kind of tit for tatted financially for me to be able to give that much time, because I wanted to invest a lot of time in these projects. And so maybe that might be something we can go for, where I just, hey, I can work on your project for 2 hours with you, or you want to come up with a storyline, I will work with you, or research for you, or stuff like that. If that would be something people are interested in. I wrote some notes, and I also can't read my writing. I don't know. I think this says more sprintier. Spectator? I don't know. But, so my main things are much shorter classes, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 2. Maybe just individual special topics kind of stuff. Personally working with people on like an hourly or a commission type basis, maybe. Or maybe, God, it sounds so weird to say selling tickets, but if we're having a big thing that maybe people would be interested with watching a game, we could set that up as well. I don't feel a little bad about that with my players, like, kind of being like NFL people who weren't getting paid. I don't know how I feel about that at all. But yeah. The other main thing I wanted to do, and if you are still listening this far, I hope I'm talking specifically to some people that I felt bad about this going into it. It's because I didn't set it up properly, and I felt really bad. The past 2 years or so, some people have very generously donated to our website, helped us pay for things, helped us pay for the internet, helped us pay for keeping the site up. Things that we normally pay out of pocket, and people have helped with for just out of the bottom of their heart, just for with no benefit. And about 1 week into class, I realized that it was totally unfair that those people had donated and hadn't, then if they didn't have money later. Or, oh, well, I gave you $100 a year ago, but now you're running a class and now I don't have it, but I could have saved it. And I just felt horrible. But some of the students had also donated, and then I didn't want to, like, say to them, hey, I'm letting this person in because they donated. But it was a little messy. I didn't want to bring it up during the class. I was like, I'll just finish it out, and then if we ever do something again, I will apply it. And so we have records of everybody that's ever donated to the website. And if we end up running a class type thing, if those people want to participate, and they have donated before, we can just take it out of the donation. I don't know if we could do a straight up like 100% of money you donated before you can use now, or like maybe just 80%, or maybe 100%. I don't know. A lot of this is up in the air, but I do want to make sure if we ever do something again, like a class or a session, that if you have donated money to us, you will be able to use that towards the class, because that's really important to me, and I felt really bad about it, and I'm so thankful for all the people who have donated before, and I would never want them to feel bad about that, or feel disappointed, or feel like they didn't get something that someone else did just because they had donated to us before. So huge thank you to all those people who do that, and definitely would be able to use that in the future if we ever do anything like this again. So I guess in conclusion, I am up for ideas or conversation about what kind of stuff might be cool to do. I would be totally willing to set something up again, or set a bunch of stuff up, or anything. Like I said, I really like talking to people. I really like the video format of working with people on their games and stuff. I really enjoy it, but also it is a great deal of time, so I need to get kind of reimbursed somehow, I guess. And I am willing to listen to and talk to people about it, all the different kinds of ways that we might be able to do that in the future. Yeah, so I think that's everything. Thank you for listening to my ramble. I have to go through and edit this, because there's definitely some parts where I'm like, dirt, 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 dirt. And you're never going to see those, because I'm going to cut them out. God, I say so much when I'm just talking. One of the things we had talked about doing today, before Anne wasn't feeling well, was doing a kind of expectations for 2nd edition Scion. If you haven't heard, they've picked the developers for us. It's not us. Or the developers for the game, and it's not us. Which is, we expected. It's going to be the guy that did Requiem, and he did Demigod, and he did Companion. Not going to say anything to the dude. I don't know what parts of Companion he did. There aren't many parts of Companion that are good, but maybe he worked on like some of the Irish backstory and stuff. Like, there's totally some stuff in there that maybe he worked on. I have some opinions about like 2nd edition, what I think will come, and what I'm hoping for, and what I'm not hoping for. We're probably looking, I think, at a late 2014 release. Maybe like September. They haven't announced anything yet, except that it'll be 2014, I think. I think September, October 2014. But so we were thinking about that for a as of vlog, if we didn't get any good questions for next week. Anne's kind of hesitant. She doesn't think she has a lot to say about it. I'm not sure I have a ton to say about it. But let us know if that's something that would be interesting. If not, or in addition to, if you can send in some questions that are very vlog-oriented, that would be cool and helpful. Because there are some things that just talking relates more to, and we don't have any in the queue right now that are really good for that. So yeah, I guess end of the vlog. If you could go to YouTube and like and subscribe. I think we have a good amount of subscribers, but not, I know, everybody who's watching, and then we generally only get like 1 or 2 likes a video, which is sad. So you should like the thing. And I'm gonna edit this and get this up. So thanks for being patient and sitting through this. And if you're on the West Coast, this is still on time for you. Alright, talk to you later. Hopefully lots of comments. I would love to converse with people about this.